Hi,
Hello?
Tanis.
Oh my God. Yes, hello, hello.
Hi, Tanis. You were able to get on.
I was. I was. Okay. I didn't get I didn't receive the link, so I couldn't get on. So here I am.
No worries, no worries. I know that the Instagram live is new for you, right?
Yeah, I've never done one before, and I was on your program, but I couldn't see live. I couldn't see how to join live. And I was waiting for something, and then all of a sudden I get a beep, a beep. It was my first beep, and this is good. And then I saw your face. So yes, the learning curves. Do they ever end, Maria? Do they ever end? Well, this is a miracle in itself that I got on.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of this world, right? That everything it ends up working out or not, and that's okay too. I'm getting goosebumps because it's true. You
Yeah.
know, and I love that this is your first live because at first I was telling my assistant, well, maybe this is not such a good idea because she's not familiar with this. But he's like, no, she needs to figure it out. She will figure it out. I was like, okay, we'll figure it out then.
Yeah, that's what she said. Oh, it's simple. Well, I mean, I post on Instagram, and if people do a comment, I answer them, blah, blah. But no, this was quite a different learning curve today.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is how it is, and it's really neat because it's recording live right now, and then after we get the recording and we get to put it all across the board as well. So, and it's nice because right now we're literally everyone's watching in this moment. So we have about 15 people in the room right now. So,
Will they
and
allow
some
me to take a sip of my tea?
yes, and I'll take a sip of my coffee, my Cuban coffee.
All right then. Are you in Florida?
I am. I'm in Florida, in Naples, Florida.
Oh,
Which,
nice. I've been there.
you have?
I have.
Yeah. How about you? Where are you at,
Oh,
Tanis?
north of Vancouver, on the in Canada, and on the Sunshine Coast, and it's a
Nice.
beautiful day,
Beautiful. Yeah,
but it,
here
it
too.
is not as warm as Naples.
I know, right? Well, Tanis, I already read your bio, so a lot of people know about who you are. I read it earlier when I first started. So I just wanted to dive into it. I know that today we're going to be talking about your book, Decoding Your Destiny, Keys to Humanity's Spiritual Transformation. But before that, for my audience and people that don't know you or your teachings, can you share a little bit about yourself or anything that comes up for you that you would want to share with our audience?
Hum. Well, I've been at spiritual transformation for myself and also assisting other people for 4 decades.
Wow.
So I started as a psychotherapist, specializing in this, and started writing books like Decoding Your Destiny. I wrote Decoding Your Destiny originally, Maria, when in 1988 was the first version of this that came out. And much like the Course of Miracles, I was told I had to write this book, and I'd never written a book. I had no desire to write a book. I was a psychotherapist just starting out.
Really? I had
Yeah,
no idea. That's incredible.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And so I went into retreat, and every day I wrote a chapter. And it became this book, and I had 5,000 copies, and they all got sold, and people were teaching from my own book. I never taught from my own book. I felt that it had not dropped into the physical world for me yet. And so I started in the year 2000, which is like 22 years after this. No, I can't do my math. Well, however many years after, it was a long time after. Um, I started the International Institute for Transformation, and I had been doing a lot of teaching by then. And and then I spent 5 years teaching from Decoding Your Destiny, and then I rewrote the book. It took that long to for things to go from theory about spirit to actually lived in practice about spirit, which I'm sure you relate to.
Of course. And when you say living in spirit, what does that mean for you?
Well, that means meditating, um, trying in every day and in every way to be a better person. So, not just to my family and friends, but as I engage with new people, like you, for example, we've never met before.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, just to be interested in people and in trying to evoke in them the best and invoke in myself the best. That's what it means to me, living in spirit.
It
But I'm
says
a
here that,
long-term meditator. I've been a meditator since I was in my early 20s. So,
and when you're saying meditation, you're like guided meditation, or you lead yourself in your own meditations? How do you
yeah,
meditate? I'm curious.
yeah, that's an interesting question. I started with transcendental meditation, the same one that Beatles did, and I
Okay.
did that for 6 years. Then I went to Tibetan meditation, and I did Tibetan meditation for about a decade. And then from there to Vipassana. But I continued meditating, and Vipassana is sitting in silence basically and watching your thoughts. And I did that for some years. And then finally, I went to a practice with Paramahansa Yogananda. It's called Self-Realization Fellowship. And I committed to that practice as my practice. So that is what I do every day. So I find it's not just the sitting in meditation that's important. It's when I go for my walks by myself, because I like to walk by myself in nature. I live where there are bears and cougars, Maria.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah, bears and cougars, but I like to walk in the forest by myself, and eagles. It's beautiful, and sea lions. And so when I walk by myself, it's also in meditation, because I often go over my ideas for the day and I think, well, you're a little unclear here, you could be clearer there. So it's really, my meditation is a continual trying to be conscious in the moment, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. And connecting inside. It doesn't, and that, I feel that's meditation too, right? It's not like what the world teaches meditation is, but when you're contemplating inside and asking yourself questions and tuning in and observing, being present, for me, it's a form of meditation.
Exactly. Exactly. It doesn't have to be seated, but it does have to be this a conscious presence. Yeah, and a feeling that that we're guided, and that we're a work in progress is what I like to think. Like today, I am a work in progress on Instagram Live, and when I do something new, or when anyone does something new, we don't have to feel we have to be perfect at it. We only have to show up and do our best. And and that is how we continue to learn and grow. A lot of people don't start anything because they think, oh, well, I'll never be perfect at it.
Yeah. It's the nice example is today that even though you hadn't done Instagram Live, it's a little foreign to you, the live part. I know you post and everything, but it's different. And you were like, well, I saw your back and forth with my assistant German, and it was, you were so open. You're like, okay, well, we'll figure it out, and then it's this, I don't know, but openness, which is such a great message for our audience to, when something becomes or feels like an obstacle, to trust. and might feel a little bit scary. But look, if you wouldn't have said yes, we wouldn't be here right now in this moment at this time. Over here, it's 11:23 in the morning, but in this moment, we wouldn't be talking.
Here it's 8:23 in the morning without breakfast because I've spent a lot of time trying to master this. But you know what? That's okay. I really think this is an important message for people. As you know, we have to face our fears. We have to face our fears and take the next step. And 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 this is how we learn to expand how much we can take on, how much we can do. And of course, this is when the universe gives us more, and it gives us more opportunities.
Yes, it's true. And when you were talking about this, the walking and the presence, I also felt that that's important too. I feel that people, we forget to do that and to understand that all the answers are within. There's this intelligence within us that, and we can stop and listen and connect and practice that every day to come into that silence and try to get out of our heads. I feel that the head, I call it the cuckoo voice in our mind, it makes us, it's like takes over the show. What can you say about that? And the Course in Miracles calls it the voice of the ego, however reference you make to it. But what do you do with that fearful voice? What can you share with our audience in regards to that, the voice of fear?
Well, I call it the voice of the ego as well.
Okay.
So,
Okay. We're both on
yeah,
the same page.
we are totally on the same page. So, so the ego for me, and in my understanding of it as a psychotherapist and also spiritually, it's a construct. It's a construct. It isn't really our soul that's talking to us, And so I think we need to differentiate when our soul is speaking to us and when our ego is speaking to us. And this takes practice. Now, I find that the more that I am non-attached to the results of something, the less my ego can control me. Because
that's a good one. That's a good one. I like it. Yes, totally. I agree.
So if you embark on any moment as a joyful learning and an experience, and you're not attached to, how brilliant are you going to be? How well are you going to do it? How many people are going to love you? These are all ego concerns.
That's so true.
You're just interested in listening to your higher self, which I call your authentic self, which is the soul, and think of what is, like, for example, you asked a wonderful question. How do you differentiate, right? And how do you move on? Well, our ego likes to control us and make us feel smaller ultimately.
Mm.
Ultimately, it is interested in creating situations where we will ultimately end up feeling smaller, because if we don't do a good job, we feel smaller. If people don't love us, we feel smaller. If we can't learn quickly, immediately how to do something right, we think we're stupid, so we feel smaller. And so the ego gets a kick from this. Eckhart Tolle calls it the pain body, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the pain body. So, but what does the soul do? The soul makes us feel peace, makes us feel happiness, makes us feel joy, makes us feel, all is right in the world. This is what our soul ultimately does for us.
Mm.
It gives
I,
us a feeling of going with the going with the flow, which is the universal spirit.
I love that tip of not having like expectations for something to come out good. That was so on point and powerful because that's as humans, as you know, the ego, we have expectations and we want it to come out good and we want to be right. I always say we're trying to play God. Why don't we just let God do its job, you know? But for me, it's interesting because I didn't correlate those until you just said it. But yesterday I had a big, yesterday was Earth Day, and I had a big event at a beautiful sanctuary. It's like a swamp, but it's in nature. And I needed, it was like 50 people. It was a sold out event, and I wasn't nervous. I was walking into it, and I felt such peace and joy, and I was just excited. And I was thinking, why am I so calm? Which I usually am, but this was extra calm. And now when you say this, I think I didn't have any expectations of doing it perfect. I
Mm.
just wanted to go and share. And I feel that that's in life, that's such a great quality to have, of not needing to do it perfect, not needing to have these expectations of anybody liking you or it being so successful. For me, it was just a little kid filled with wonder. What's going to happen? I'm excited to share some truth. If it's good, great. If it's not good, great. But there's this non-attachment. And it kind of just, Tanis, it just like bing, it kind of made all sense now. Thank you for that. That's so powerful.
Well, what is so incredible about the way you've just phrased it is that it went from theory, we can read about these things, it went from theory to you actually practicing it, to then getting the ding between the theory and the practice. So it's now rooted in the cells of your body. So like something has now changed in you. You can't go back to it not changing.
Yeah.
You know, it's sort of like when we get those dings, it's like we've taken a little leap, a little leap in our consciousness. And
Uh-huh.
and the more we reinforce that, the more we reinforce that, oh, that worked once, why don't I go and try it next time? No expectations. Next time invited to do something, just say yes and do the best I can.
Yeah. And always I call it like when the light is on and you've already learned, like you've turned on the light switch, it's on.
Yeah,
It's on in whatever
yeah,
way it's going to help you or whatever way it's going to come through. But the light is on. Once you know something and you've awakened to something, there's no going back. That's how I feel about it, you
that's
know?
right. It's you've entered a new paradigm, you
Yeah.
know. And when we do that, then everything starts to change around that. You know,
Mm.
because there's so many things hooked in any one paradigm that we might be in. So if we're in a paradigm of fear, that people are out to get you, that there's only so much to go around for everyone, and I got to get what I've got. I've got to be there, and I've got to be trying to win and compete and whatever. When you're in that paradigm, there's a lot locked into that, and your behaviors conform to that paradigm. When
Mm.
you think, there's, it's either I'm either going to shine and they're not going to shine, or they're going to win and I'm going to lose, or I better win. You're locked into this paradigm. But if you're not in that paradigm anymore, you're in a different paradigm of, wow, everybody wants the same thing. Everybody wants love and to feel that they are contributing something in the world. If you're in that paradigm, then you go forward in your day with quite a different attitude. You meet new people and you think, wow, isn't this nice about this new person I've just met? Isn't this a great experience I just had when I did my presentation, as you said? The whole paradigm shifts.
And there's more happiness, there's more freedom. You enjoy it. I have a question here, Tanis, that somebody on Instagram is asking, which can you tell us how the body elemental helps us in the whole process of changing our mind to love?
Yes, obviously this person has read some of my other books about the body elemental. Probably Good Morning Henry is probably what they've read. Um, yeah, I talk about the body elemental. Those are my terms, and those are terms that maybe Rudolf Steiner would have used. But it is actually the Holy Spirit is the consciousness in our body. Okay,
Mm,
the body elemental is the Holy Spirit, which is spirit, alive and awake in form. This is the same Holy Spirit that builds, or the same elementals that build all the world, but it's for our body. So, how does it help us to awaken in love? We're talking about it. You know, as we face every little fear we have, and we take a step in that direction to overcoming it. And it may be a small step. It may be things like you're afraid to say no to somebody,
mm.
especially if it's your husband or your boss at work. Well, then you practice saying no. If you know whatever your fear is, you know maybe you're afraid to you're going to end up destitute on the street as a bag lady or a bag man, so you're very hoarding with your money. Well, then you start loosening it, give a little bit to charity. You face your fear by acting differently. So
Mm,
as we act differently in all of our fears, fear of the unknown, fear of change, fear of loss of control, fear of failure, fear of rejection. These are the major fears. If we act differently, we face them by acting differently, we start moving to a fearless, a fearless lifestyle. And when we are fearless, we are just automatically in love.
mm. That's true. It's an effect of it. It's a
It's
natural
an
effect of it.
effect of it because love is the aspect of the soul of Christ, um, of the Holy Spirit, you know, of the Divine Mother, of the Divine Father. I mean, love is this aspect. So we are just automatically in that. I hope that helps
Oh,
your.
absolutely. Even somebody just said, yes, beautiful. And they gave some hands up. So, yeah, it's very, very, very well received. Talking about the importance of aligning with higher frequencies, um, do you connect? I don't know if this is correct or not, and I don't mind talking about this because I love talking about anything that's truly helpful. Um,
Neither do I, Maria. Hey, hey, we should have met before now.
yes. My assistant was sharing something about dragons. Do you communicate with dragons? Is that right? I
Yeah,
was
it's
like, I have to ask her. I was like, why wouldn't I? He's like, you're not going to talk about that, but you know, she does that. I'm fascinated. My assistant loves books. He's the one that found you. So,
oh,
and he says she connects with dragons. And I said, well, I'm going to ask her. I cannot not ask her that. So I'm curious. Tell
so
me more,
is
please.
your assistant German? Is that the way I
Yes.
pronounce it? German,
German, German. Uh-huh.
German,
Yeah.
and German is a man.
He is.
Or yeah, hello German. I haven't known if you were a man or a woman. I haven't known how to pronounce your name because we have only just emailed. So it's
Yes.
lovely to meet you.
Yes.
So yes, I've written altogether. I've written 9 books now, and Decoding Your Destiny is the first. Okay,
Okay.
my latest one, which comes out in 5 days on May 1st, is The Dragon's Tail.
Okay.
And
Great.
and and like you, Maria, I have I'm a mystic. I have always seen and heard different things. So, and it increases, folks, if people want to learn how to listen to angels and dragons and elementals, it increases when you meditate. So it's like playing tennis. You know, if you're going to get better if you get out there on the court. So anyway, um, so so anyway,
Your book, you were going to talk about your book that's coming
I
out of the
am
dragon. Yeah.
the Dragon's Tail.
Yeah.
So it started 2 years ago. I was meditating, and I was asked by a wonderful, great being who had never spoken to me before, by the way, if I would, he said, you have done enough for elementals now, because I've done a lot for nature spirits and elementals. So he said, it's time now to talk about dragons. And I was taken to a very high astral world, and he went there, and there was the dragon's world. So I waited for a
Fascinating.
year. I know, I waited for a year to to finish off other books, and then I started it, the Dragon's Tale. I speak to a dragon on a dragon world, and he is talking about how dragons have always been involved with earth evolution, that the great cosmic dragon is here right now, helping to birth the earth to a higher frequency, to help crack this, crack the cosmic egg and birth it to a higher frequency, and how the dragons also work with our kundalini energy to help us with their fire, which is actually a fire of purification, to help remove the blocks, some of the blocks which we're talking about, some of these fear blocks, so that we can rise to a higher frequency. So yeah,
And the
it,
book,
I,
and that book is coming out
it's
next
coming any
May.
day, literally any day.
Okay.
May
And they
1st,
can get it, and they can get it on
2024.
Amazon and anywhere. So check it
Yeah,
out, my friends. That's so cool. Oh my gosh. It sounds like a fun title too.
I think it's a fun book. I think it's very informative. Like, Decoding Your Destiny is incredibly informative. But this book also takes the form of a conversation with the dragon. And I'm actually taken to the dragon world to meet some of Jake's friends. Jacobus Kindron is his real name, but I call him Jake for short.
And Jake is the
He's
dragon.
the dragon.
Okay. Oh wow, that's so powerful. What type of, because since the book is not out yet, what type of what's the message, the main message for Jake for us, if you can sum it up, or any practice or anything that shares that is
Well,
important that you have in your book?
the main message is that the dragons are not evil, that
Mhm.
they're intelligent, wise, evolved beings who have been involved in our evolution since the beginning of time. They have been evolved in our evolution, and we have stories of dragons all around the world, and that they are here and they want to be known, as just like angels want to be known, or elementals want to be known, as conscious beings who are also aligned with spirit. Aligned with spirit. They call God the source of all.
I love that. The
The
source of
source
all.
of all. And they say that they are acting on behalf of the source of all.
Mm. Tanis, what is elementals? Because I didn't get clarity on that. Is it something about the soul? I didn't understand
Oh,
that part. What
okay.
are the
Yeah,
elementals? Because
elementals.
I'm
Okay.
curious.
Yeah, well, I've written a lot of books like Summer with the Leprechauns, Pilgrimage with the Leprechauns, um, about elementals. And they are like elves, gnomes, goblins, trolls. And every culture has elementals. The Maori call them the children of the mist. In Germany, they call them kaboutas. So every country in the world talks about nature spirits, elementals, and they exist in just a little higher frequency than ours on the earth. And elementals build all form on the earth. So, so a lot of my earlier life, Maria, was spent trying to bring consciousness about the importance of elementals, earth, air, fire, and water elementals that build the earth, to our consciousness. So my work really is about the evolution of consciousness on the earth.
Mm.
What would you say your work was mainly?
Well, my passion is for me, what lights me up is for people to also wake up and have self-actualization, to understand that there's so much more than this, you know, then it's in the silence, right? So I love to connect with people and just help them recognize that whatever they think they need, they have it already. And I either whisper it or I'll speak it or I'll dance to it or however I can use it so I can remind people, hey, just because you think something doesn't necessarily mean that it's real. So that's what lights me up. Thanks for asking, Tanis. Yeah, that's what I love to do with the course, just because it's a teaching that has called me. So, the course teaches also about forgiveness, which is one of my powerful extensions and teachings, is basically to help people have less victimization and stop having so much judgment. To begin to let go of the judgment so that we can let go of the illusion and just remember we've never left the mind of God. So what you're teaching, what I'm teaching is very similar because it's coming back to the same thing.
It totally, totally. How wonderful what you're doing. And, if everyone could just realize that each person in the world has their own gift that they have been given to fulfill on this earth, and just be their authentic self, and that's all they need to be, and that is all we're asked to be. Just like you said, this idea of forgiveness, what do we have to forgive, right? What?
Yeah.
We're all just doing the best we can with what we've got at the time.
Yeah. And I feel also for me, it's what you said is so important of the practice that you're teaching and I'm teaching, because and you said it a couple times, there needs to be integration, there needs to be practice. And that's something that I also I share a lot, because for a long time I wasn't understanding why I was learning all these concepts since the 90s and the Course in Miracles, even the Course in Miracles, but I wasn't practicing it. And that was one of my blind spots. So one of the things I like to always share with people, just as you were doing, is that there needs to be an element of practice, of integration, of being uncompromising, of not making any more exceptions, and really going for it, because that's how I feel we see results. Wouldn't you agree? I feel that's such an important element.
Excellent point. So wonderful that you've brought that up. Yeah. Forget about, get the theory by listening to YouTubes like us chatting today or reading books. Get the theory. That's lovely. And start practicing. In fact, it's better to read one book and start practicing than read 200 books and practice nothing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's the integration of it. It's such as, like, even with my partner, with my husband, whenever something comes up or I feel like I'm victimized or I feel I'm being neglected or abandoned, that's something for me to look at, instead of there's something wrong here or feel bad or get into the personalization of it. It's like, oh, that's funny, these feelings are coming up. Let me see this. Let me see what's going on here. Let me let go of the judgment of believing that my problem is outside. It's hard to practice that because you got to take responsibility for your stuff, Tanis. it
Absolutely. Yeah, it is fantastic. Yeah, the Chinese have a wonderful hieroglyph for change. It's got two aspects to it. It's got the challenge and opportunity. And I always see the opportunity. So when we're having a bad day, or when, like, it took me ages to get on here, and my partner was here trying to
Oh,
help
so
me, and
sweet.
he has never used Instagram in his life.
This
Ah,
is
so I
great.
said, no, no, don't press that, please, no, no, not that one,
I
so
love it.
so anyway, it when we have these, we can see it. Yes, it's a challenge, but it's an opportunity.
Yep. And you know what, Tanis? You got on. You got
Yes,
on.
8 minutes late, 8 minutes late, but finally, however it happened, finally I heard a what's that noise? It's coming from my phone. What do
It
I
was
do
not,
now?
it
Oh,
was,
I see her face. Oh my heavens. Okay, she's on. Oh, this is a step in progress. Where can I click something? Can I click? I'm reading my instructions.
yeah. And then I requested you and then you were on. So that's great. Well, Tanis, thank you for your time. I wanted to share just with everyone that your website is www.tanis she I mean SHELLIWEL.com. Okay.
Yeah, Tanis Helliwell.
That's what I had to stop there because I couldn't read it. TanisHelliwell.com. And you are also on YouTube. You have your YouTube channel, which is most probably your name, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. My YouTube channel is my name, and when you make this into a YouTube, I'll post it on my YouTube channel too.
Wonderful.
And you'll be
Yes.
on it as well.
Wonderful. I appreciate that. We will edit it for you and then we'll give it to you in a nicer format and everything. So it's ready for you.
Well, this
And
has been a treat meeting you, Maria. It's really been a treat.
it's great meeting you too, Tanis. I wasn't sure. I'm not familiar with you again. I feel that there's synchronicities in life, and my assistant loves books. He must have read some of your books, fascinated with you. He's like, you got to interview her. I said, I trust you. I love it. Let's have her. And then the rest is history. So now my day is so much better because of this conversation with you and what I learned today. So for
Mine
me,
too.
this is beautiful.
Mine too. So thank you for inviting me, and I feel I've made a new friend.
Yes, Tanis, we'll be in touch. And somebody said here, thank you. Greetings from Holland.
Ah,
Thank you.
okay.
People from
I'm
all
going
over
to
the
be
world.
working in Holland in a month now.
Oh,
I work
great.
in I work in Europe. I'll be in Holland, Germany, and
You
Switzerland
you
within a month.
you have your schedule
Yes,
somewhere people can find
it's
it?
on my website. If you go to my website, you can click on my schedule.
Perfect. I'll put those links on the video too so people find it
Oh,
easily.
thanks.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Maria.
Tanis, and thank you to your husband for helping you get on here, even though he doesn't even know Instagram. That's fantastic. That's love.
Okay.
Bye,
Bye-bye for
Tanis.
now.
Bye, sweetheart. Talk to you soon.
Yeah.